Hello once again, Niners faithful, and welcome back to another episode of 49ers Playbook on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and the hows of the game. The 49ers came away from Sunday Night Football with another tough win, and the defense continues to rise to the challenge. Things will get even tougher though, as the team announced Monday that both Renardo Green and Bryce Huff are going to miss some time. There were a lot of positives though, as the 49ers found their run game again, and the defense held one of the league's most productive offenses to just 10 points. So let's jump to the film and see how the 49ers were able to stay in first place in the NFC West. You're watching Johnny Dell's Football Academy. We did see the 49ers able to get into and use a little more gap scheme in the run game than we're accustomed to. But it's not like the 49ers just became a pure gap scheme team. These are runs they've had in the playbook since Kyle Shanahan has been here, and we've leaned into and used as counters to when teams try and take away the wide zone. And this play is, well, literally named counter. The line will block down, Colby will pull and kick out the end man, and Juice will lead up through the hole. This is a play that's used a lot versus a 5-man surface by the defense when they're setting hard edges. Luke Farrell does a great job helping McKivitz on his down block, and they eject the defensive tackle from the hole, and then Farrell moves up to the backside linebacker. Juice does a nice job sifting through and picking up Diablo, and the physical blocks and running nets a chunk gain on the ground. On defense, they were able to limit one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL and one of the league's most explosive running backs in Bijan Robinson, who loves to run outside the tackles. They got it done by setting good edges and strong pursuit. The Falcons are trying to run a wide zone, and it starts with Sam O setting a hard edge. From there, Jordan Elliott does a great job of establishing his gap and then working his way down the line to squeeze the cutback lane. Micah Williams also does a great job of doing the same thing. This is the strong pursuit you see as they're able to rally in pursuit and stop Robinson for a short gain. After a very long Falcons drive though, the defense is able to hold Atlanta to just a field goal, and it started on second down. Malik Mustafa is an electric player, and this may seem like a poor play, but it makes everything happen. In our wide 9 defensive front, the safeties are oftentimes responsible for the C gap, or the gap between the tight end and the tackle. Atlanta knows Darrell Luter is the force defender, or the defender whose job is to be the last line of defense on the edge to force any run back inside. So they're going to leave him unblocked and let him stay outside and try and run through the C gap by getting their wide receiver Casey Washington up on Mustafa. But Mustafa reads run and fills with intensity and beats the receiver to the spot. And it's only not a tackle for a loss because Bijan makes a crazy jump cut, but he ends up bouncing the run outside to an unblocked defender in Luter, who makes the stop and sets up third down. Then the defense gets off the field with a great disguise and drop into coverage by Saleh. We start out by showing a heavy pressure look in man coverage, and at the snap, we drop into cover 4 tricks with the red zone version of it. They'll man up the weak side and play quarters to the strong side, with the weak side safety cross keying to the 3 receiver side. The Falcons are running a Cougar concept, which is an arches paired with an under route, and the zone drop causes Penix to hold the ball, and it gives the pass rush time to get home. We'll take a quick break to thank all of our members of JFA49.com. As many of you know, the way the NFL is combating people just posting the coach's film, the dispute process when the automatic claims are put on these videos make it effectively impossible to monetize. Each and every member makes a huge difference, and thank you so much for the 5 new members this past week. If you like the content and all the work that goes into these videos, please consider becoming a member of our coaching staff at JFA49.com or the Patreon, with tiers from $2 a month to $15 a month. Your support is greatly appreciated so we can continue sharing the whys and hows of the 49ers and make it open for everyone. Thank you, and let's get back to the film. Back on offense, we'll see more of this success out of some gap runs. This is another counter run, and I've talked in past videos about how the wide receivers and tight ends have struggled in the run blocking. Here, Kittle and Jennings do a fantastic job of getting to their blocks. If we back it up, McKivitz does a great job helping wash down Pooney's man, and then he climbs to the second level. Next, we come back with a different gap run. This is called Stab Punch. This play is going to look like it's attacking Trent Williams' side, but is meant to work the right side A gap outwards, with Juice working up inside the hole to kick out the strong side linebacker, and McKivitz and Pooney working a combo up to the second level. The whole right side does a great job. Farrell seals off the end, Juice gets up to the second level, and Pooney and McKivitz work this combo block really well to open up a big hole that McCaffrey hits for a big gain. Then we come with another gap run, and this is power. You'll have Juice kick out the end man, Luke Farrell will help wash down and work to the second level, Kittle will pick up the backside second level, and will pull Pooney to lead up into the hole. It's a great kick out by Juice. Farrell and Trent wash it down, and Farrell works up to the second level. Pooney is able to pull and lead around, and Kittle is experienced enough in this offense, he understands where the play is going, and he's just going to stay between his man and the play. That's something that might be a little underrated, because sometimes you see guys just try and dive at defenders, and they'll slip the blocks and still get in there. Kittle just walls them off from the play, and McCaffrey is sprung for another big gain. So we'll talk about the interception. Here, Mac Jones has to work his eyes a little bit better, and Juwan has to hang on to the ball. They walk up a man in bump on Juwan Jennings, and with off coverage to the other side, Mac knows Atlanta is going to man up the 2 receiver side and have a matching 4/3 zone to the other. So they start out by widening Brian Robinson. This is to try and widen Caden Willis to that side in coverage. Then we'll motion Juice out, which draws his man out. We're trying to open up the middle of the field for Juwan on a quick slant. Mac drops back, and he's got to move Ellis a little bit more with his eyes. Ellis just follows Mac's eyes to the play, and it influences Juwan Jennings, who doesn't secure the catch. So we're going to see another example of how the 49ers were able to limit the Falcons' run game. Here, Atlanta is trying to run the crack toss, something that if you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll be familiar with, and it's something that we struggled greatly against in 2023. Here, we're in a big nickel with Pinnock in at the slot. First, Pinnock does a great job in recognition to attack and set the edge. From there, it's about the swarm by the defense. Tatum Bethune, filling in for Fred Warner, does a great job working through the block to get in on the tackle, and if we run it back, Bryce Huff is the backside defensive end, and he's going to run this down to start the stop. Then with the loss of Nick Bosa, we've seen Robert Saleh scheme up some pass rush. Saleh presents 2 rushing threats to the left and 3 to the right, with Huff on that side. So they know they'll get a center slide to that side. From there, Brown and Winters do a good job of not tipping their blitz, as Brown will walk up and we're coming with a double blast blitz. Williams and Collins will slant left to draw the center and left guard. Winters will blitz, and then Brown and Huff are rushing on either side of the tackle, and if Robinson releases out into the pattern, if he goes outside, Huff will pick him up. If he releases inside, Brown will pick him up. And if he stays in, they've still got Atlanta overloaded and are able to stay +1 in coverage, and Penix has to airmail the ball. Back on offense, we have another explosive run, and this isn't a gap run, it's a man run. And we're running the crack toss. Jennings does a great job of cracking on James Pierce. Trent is one of the best ever at getting out in space and blocking. And all 3 second-level defenders are picked up, and you get another explosive run. Then we get another explosive run, and this looks like gap scheme, but this is an inside zone. They call this Wanda. Kittle will work back across the formation and get up to the second level, and McCaffrey will take the handoff to the left side, then read the right side from the first gap of the center, outside each gap. McKivitz does a great job of moving his man, Juice seals off the end, Kittle gets up to the second level on Ellis, and McCaffrey works this play just as you want to see it, and we get McCaffrey for another big gain. I know a lot of people wanted to see how Hennessy did over Brendel. I didn't see a huge difference. Hennessy was a little bit better in pass protection, but overall it was pretty similar. Next, we'll get another big run, and this time it's off a split zone. So this will look like a wide zone and work to wash things down and read from the first gap to the right of the center, outside. First, great job by McKivitz driving his man off the line, and Kittle is trying to actually have a kick out block, but he sticks with it, and McCaffrey's able to read the block and find the hole for another big gain. Then Mac is able to convert a third down to set the team up at goal to go. Now, Mac Jones does miss a bust on this play, but it needs to be clear that Bourne isn't in the progression. He's an alert on a corner route as we're running a choice concept. So we have to remember that Mac isn't taught to even look towards that route. He's looking for Kittle first, who's doubled, moves to Jennings, and he's taken away, so he buys time and finds Christian McCaffrey. Big shout out to Trent Williams though, because James Pierce thought he was going to get a hit on Jones and Trent welcomed the young man to the NFL. Then we blast McCaffrey into the end zone. And this is a power play, and McKivitz just does a great job of road grading the path to get McCaffrey into the end zone. Back on defense, this one is bittersweet because Bryce Huff is expected to miss at least a few weeks with a hamstring injury, because this kind of burst and bend off the end to get the strip sack is just incredible. Back on offense out of the half, I know there were questions about why Kittle wasn't involved as much in the passing game. Well, the defense wanted to take him away. Here, we're going hard play action and running Kittle on a drift route. Out of the play fake, note how Caden Ellis climbs to locate Kittle. The safety has eyes. And as it goes, Bertrand turns to locate Kittle. You have all this attention, and so Mac Jones just gets it down to Sky Moore, who's able to make something with all the space. And we'll get another big run, and this time it's another gap run. We'll pull Pooney to kick out the end man. Kittle will work up to the second level, and McCaffrey will work this like a counter. But Trent actually loses his leverage, and McCaffrey is able to read it and go find daylight working backside. Then makes a safety miss, and it's another big gain. Back on defense, another great stop in the run game. Like we did when the Falcons stopped our outside run game, the Falcons are coming with a Wanda run. Here, the pursuit is so good from Bethune, and the run support by Mustafa shuts this play down for a minimal gain. Later in the drive, we force an incomplete pass, and if you remember back to the preseason when we got a big grounding penalty on Bo Nix, we're coming with the same blitz, bringing both D. Winters and Chase Lucas. We're going to get Lucas free on a rush, but he has time to get home because Tatum Bethune, as he peels off his mug alignment, works to pick up Kyle Pitts on the slant. That's where Penix wants to go as his hot against the heavy pressure, and Penix has to hold it, and Lucas gets home. Then, in what was the most consequential sequence of the game, the Falcons are third and short. The score is 13-10. Here, like we saw earlier, the Falcons are trying to hit a crack toss run to the outside to get the first down. First, great job by Lenore recognizing it and attacking to set an immediate edge. Then Bethune is going to work and set his second edge. Both these guys are working to force Robinson back inside to funnel him to the swarm. Jordan Elliott did a phenomenal job of reading the play, and the pursuit from a defensive tackle is incredible. Sam Okwuonu works through the crack block and he goes and gets it. Malik Mustafa coming up in run support to finish it off. Then we get to fourth down, and this is such a good job from Chase Lucas. He talked about how he had remembered from the scouting report that when Drake London went in motion in these short yardage situations, that he was either running an option route or a quick out. So once he sees him dial it down to break out, he runs the route for the receiver and beats him to the spot and nearly picks it off, but forces a turnover on downs. On offense, there's a really interesting sequence as you'll see McCaffrey counting the defensive players, realizing that Atlanta had 12 men on the field and they get penalized. And you'll see one of their defensive tackles get called off. They were in nickel and had 5 defensive linemen on the field. Well, on third down, the biggest third down of the game, it's third and long and the score is 13-10 late in the fourth quarter. They're missing a lineman and only have 10 men on the field. Raheem Morris was standing next to the side judge and he was clearly upset with someone on their sideline, so he knew. I don't know why he didn't call a timeout. But we're running an attack concept. You get a scout route, which will sit down at 10 yards on the outside, then a seam stop that sits at 12 yards. Kittle is running an attack route, which will attack the middle of the field and sit down versus zone. And then McCaffrey is running a seam route. Normally McCaffrey's route is run out of the backfield, and so to keep the timing, that's why McCaffrey is motioned out but so far off the line of scrimmage. Mac drops back and he's reading Caden Ellis, who works to Kittle, and so he hits McCaffrey down the seam for a huge first down. Then we're running the same power we ran on the first touchdown, and initially Atlanta stops it, but the effort, and as Kyle said, I didn't see anything but a mass of people moving into the end zone. The defense is then able to close out the game. This is a big bust by Atlanta's offensive line. They're so worried about Bryce Huff, and there's a miscommunication. The right guard thinks the center is going to slide to his side, and they're also chipping on Huff, so Huff gets triple teamed while the center slides away, and Kevin Givens is unblocked for quick pressure and an incomplete pass by a now ailing Penix. Then Bryce Huff wins again off the edge. Then on fourth down, this is a great call by Saleh. The Falcons were chipping both defensive ends by this point, and so you know that's going to happen. And so when that happens, you let them do it. But you run double stunts off both sides, and Bethune and Okwuonu get pressure right in Penix's face, and it's an incomplete pass that seals the game. Unfortunately, this also looks like the play that Bryce Huff pulled his hamstring, as you can see him reach back and grab his hamstring. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to hit the notifications button to be alerted to when a video goes live. Also stay tuned, as on Friday we're going to be going live with one of the top Houston Texans content creator when we preview the 49ers' big matchup against DeMeco Ryans and the Houston Texans. But if you'd like to support the channel in any way, I'll have links for that below. But until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and go Niners.